Welcome to this podcast. This is Professor David Lopez. This podcast covers basic information regarding consumer protection strategies, the renting versus buying decision-making process, life, accident, and health insurance, as well as investing fundamentals. As a consumer, there are numerous factors that influence our buying decisions. They could be economic, social, or personal. Economic factors include inflation, interest rates, tax rates, government regulations, as well as product safety. Social factors could include lifestyle, interests, hobbies, the effect of your peer group, your culture, your response to advertising, as well as media. Personal factors affecting buying decisions could include gender, age, occupation, income levels, education, marital status, as well as family size. When purchasing a product or service, it's important to determine if a warranty is present. A warranty is a written guarantee from the manufacturer or distributor of a product that specifies the conditions under which the product can be returned, replaced, or repaired. And there are two general types of warranties. A limited warranty covers only certain aspects of the product, such as parts, or requires the buyer to incur part of the cost for shipping. An implied warranty covers products' intended use or other basic understandings that are not in writing. If an issue comes up with a company and a consumer, usually the consumer has a choice between mediation and arbitration. Mediation is the attempt by an impartial third party to resolve a difference between two parties through discussion and negotiation, while arbitration is the settlement of a difference by a third party whose decision is legally binding. Some practical purchasing strategies used by intelligent, informed consumers could include timing of purchases, store selection, brand comparison, fully understanding the information on the label, or price comparison using the unit pricing strategy. Interest rates and economic conditions can influence our strategies as well. For instance, during a low interest rate environment, a consumer might want to finance a purchase, as opposed to a high interest rate environment that would add additional cost to a major purchase, such as an automobile or a computer. It is critical to avoid buying large items on impulse. This can lead to increased debt and financial challenges over the long term. The decision to purchase a new home versus renting an apartment is a major decision for most young professionals. In the case of an apartment, a prospective tenant is required to sign a lease, and a lease protects the rights of both the tenant as well as the landlord. If an individual is considering the purchase of a home, it is wise to determine the overall level and direction of interest rates. Higher interest rates means a higher overall cost of home ownership. Some of the other costs associated with buying a home could be local property taxes. Some of the other benefits of home ownership over the long term could include an increase in the property value, thus increasing net worth. The more income that comes into a family means the larger home one is able to purchase. The concept of refinancing one's mortgage is an excellent strategy if interest rates are low. This is because refinancing a mortgage at a lower rate lowers the overall monthly payment that a homeowner has to pay in order to maintain ownership of their house. The purpose of insurance is to protect a family or an individual against financial hardship due to hazard, accident, death, as well as similar risks. If an individual is negligent, this means that they have failed to take ordinary and reasonable care against risks associated with their home or property. In order to be fully protected against loss, a household inventory is extremely important because it provides evidence of items covered by home insurance. One common strategy used by successful individuals is to purchase what's called an umbrella policy. This protects against major personal liability suits. Replacement value is the amount that an insurance company will pay to literally replace a car, a home, or another valuable item that is either lost, stolen, or otherwise destroyed. Long-term care insurance is a strategy and a product that prepares an individual in the event of being in a nursing home or other rehabilitative facility for a long period of time. It was virtually unknown 25 years ago, but now it's growing faster than any other form of insurance. A deductible is the amount of money that an individual must pay on his or her own prior to an insurance company paying benefits. Most individuals, whether it's through work or an individual basis, will purchase what's called disability insurance. This insurance provides for the partial replacement of income lost by employees as a result of accident or illness. Health insurance and disability insurance is critical in personal financial planning because without it, an individual can lose all of their assets, including their home, if disaster strikes. Most individuals consider life insurance as a very, very important aspect of their overall financial plan. But households with small children most often have the greatest need for life insurance. This will provide for the children's education and long-term well-being. There are several methods that are available to determine how much life insurance is necessary for a given situation. One rule of thumb is called the typical family easy method. This means the average family will need about 70% of a wage earner's salary for 7 years. Many individuals purchase life insurance so that the proceeds could pay off a home mortgage, fund an endowment for a school, make charitable requests, or even pay estate taxes. Insurance companies use mortality tables to determine what the premium should be for a given individual. Another method that's appropriate to determine the life insurance amount is called the DINK method. And this is generally appropriate for 2 working spouses who have no dependents. Prior to starting any investment management program, it's essential that an individual or family create what's called an emergency fund. This is an amount of money that can be obtained quickly in case of immediate need. Once the emergency fund is created, a diversified portfolio using the asset allocation concept is appropriate. The asset allocation concept is the process of spreading your assets among several different types of investments to lessen risk. For most individuals that are on the younger side, a substantial portion in the equity market could be appropriate. Over the last 50 years, stocks have generally outperformed bonds as well as inflation. A key component in wealth creation is the concept of paying yourself first. That means setting aside a small amount of money every single month and then using what's left to pay bills and other obligations instead of the other way around. This discipline allows individuals to create wealth as well as providing for long-term success. There are several types of individual stock classifications to consider. The more aggressive is the common stock, which is not backed or guaranteed by anybody and rises and falls in the overall market based on economic conditions as well as success of the underlying company. While preferred stocks are higher in the chain of obligations that a company must fulfill prior to any dividends on a common stock. Companies generally utilize a strategy called stock splitting in order to lower the price of the stock to entice investors that are uncomfortable with higher prices. A speculative type of investment is called an initial public offering, or IPO. This is when a relatively new company sells its shares in the open market to raise capital to continue operations and grow. There's no guarantee, however, that an IPO will be successful. Aggressive investors can purchase what are called options. If an individual believes that an individual equity will appreciate in value over a relatively short period of time, they will purchase what's called a call option. Stock owners who believe the price of a stock will go down will purchase what's called a put option. if individuals believe a stock price will go down over a longer period of time, they can utilize a strategy called selling short. In this particular case, the investor borrows shares from their broker, sells it in the open market at a certain price, hoping to buy the shares back at a lower price, thus making a profit. The shares must be repurchased at some time. So if the price of the shares go up dramatically, the investor will lose money. Corporations issue bonds as part of a debt financing strategy. The interest that's paid to investors that purchase the corporate bonds are tax deductible as a business expense for the corporation. An individual who wants the income and relative safety of a bond, but also the potential for capital appreciation, tend to purchase convertible bonds. Convertible bonds can be exchanged at the owner's option for a specified number of shares of the corporation's common stock. A zero coupon bond is a bond that provides no current interest but matures at an established face value at a future date. Bond investors can make money in two ways. One, because of the interest paid by the corporation on a semi-annual basis, or bonds can appreciate in value if interest rates decline. Mutual funds are investment vehicles that were invented in the United States in the early 1920s. Individuals purchase mutual funds because of professional management, diversification, as well as liquidity. ETFs, or exchange-traded funds, are new to the scene and provide increased liquidity as well as lower cost to the investor. The net asset value is the value that is seen by everyday investors in periodicals like the Wall Street Journal or Investors Business Daily. Most investors can decide whether to invest in load or no-load funds. A loaded fund includes a sales charge because the investor has access to a professionally trained financial advisor, while no-load funds utilize the do-it-yourself approach. There are many types of mutual funds available for investors, from income to international to mid-cap, small-cap, large-cap, and other diversified strategies. And it takes a professional to assist an investor in terms of which ones to use. Managed funds fall into this category, while index funds just follow the market like a cork in the open ocean. Investing in real estate as a diversification strategy can be direct or indirect. A direct real estate investment includes the purchase of a second home, an apartment building, or commercial property. An indirect real estate investment includes limited partnerships as well as other passive type investments. Financial leverage involves the borrowing of money, perhaps on margin, that is used to magnify potential gains. But unfortunately, they can magnify potential losses as well. Inflation is the cost of goods and services appreciating over a period of time. Real estate and other precious metals such as gold, collectibles, stamps, silver, etc., and other commodities are used as an inflation hedge in order to protect the future buying power of an individual investor. This has been Professor David Lopez. Thank you for listening.